Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why my freaking camera cut out. I guess because the call went through, which is weird because sometimes, you know what? I should have hit ignore. That's probably what I should have done. But I've had calls come through while I'm recording. It just stopped this. So I apologize for that. I'm probably had to splice, not even splice these. I'm too lazy to edit them together. So you're going to get two videos. I'm sorry. So I think I'll start over because I don't remember where I left off. So it says, at a Boston cafe, Charlie Thompson approaches Emma Hardwood while she is reading, pretending to have read the same book. Emma seems to ignore him, so he returns to his seat and later apologizes for his approach. So this movie is hilarious, the way that it tries to do the meet cute and it kind of turns that trope on its head. So what I mean by that is he walks into like this bougie coffee shop. They're like in New York. It kind of gives like West Village or what did I say? Greenwich Village. I can't even talk, but y'all know West End, whatever the fuck it's called. It kind of gets bougie. Like it looks like they'll charge you $16 for a latte, and that's like the standard there. And I was like, baby, I would never, because if a latte is that much, then I don't need to be buying it. If my meal is that much, then I have a different feel, because you know I'm a fat girl at heart. I'm gonna pay for that. So what I was gonna say is she's like in the window, you know how like places will have like the ledge and they have like the bar stool. So she's sitting there, she's reading, and she doesn't notice him, but he notices her. He's walking past his glass window and he sees her and he's just like stunned. He just like keeps looking at her, but he's too scared to say anything or do anything. And I was like, I think that's a feeling that a lot of guys can relate to, and probably girls if they're going up to guys, or women if they're approaching guys. I think it's really hard to approach whether regardless of gender, but I think especially being a man and approaching a woman is like 10 times harder. Like you have to have some serious cojones. So he goes to the register, he orders just a black coffee. And then he sits at a table and he's just watching her. So he tries to approach her, but she doesn't hear him. It almost comes across as if she's just being like mean or like standoffish or like I'm not interested, but like doesn't communicate that to him. So then she gets up. I'm thinking when she gets up, he's gonna go approach her and step to her like a man. No, bitch. He goes and uses his iPhone and or cell phone and takes a picture of the book she's reading, tries to quickly look it up, and then uses that as his way in. And I'm like, if you ain't read the book, most bookworms, most people who read in public like that are bookworms. They're what's it called, bibliophiles, which means like avid book readers. I'm like, usually they're gonna ask you questions. They're gonna ask you very specific things that you would only know if you read the book. I was just like, that is so dumb. Like if you're not a reader, don't pretend to be a reader, or don't pretend that you've read something and you haven't. But you know what? I'm saying that I probably have done that to get a guy. So maybe, but pre-husband, of course. So then he tries again and he's talking to her. And I also want to point out that the sound design in this movie is fantastic. So it's like blurred, muffled. You think it's just all the surrounding and all the chaos and noise of the coffee shop, just like the ebb and flow. No, she's actually deaf in her right ear. So she's like, what? Because she has I thought she had like an AirPod or a headphone in, but I can't remember. And she's like, I can't hear in this ear. And she's like, do you want to try again? And I was like, that was actually so sweet of her to give him a second chance, because not me, bitch. You have one time. Uno, not dos, okay? Can't count. So I thought it was sweet, but I was like, okay, that tells me that she's interested too. So there's like this like banter, and it's not entirely flirtatious, but she's very forgiving. And that's a running theme with her character. And we later find out why. So then I think somehow they get to talking and then they go on a first date. So, and I think they're like at this fancy restaurant. Oh yeah, they're at this fancy restaurant, like out on a dinner date, like nighttime. And it's like mood lighting. It's like very bougie. They're at dinner, they're talking, and they're talking about the book. Girl, this bitch still ain't read the book. And I'm talking about Robert Pattinson's character, Charlie. So she starts asking questions. Like I said, when you're a bookworm, you start asking very specific questions because you're like, well, what do you think about this? That's how I am with my friends about movies. More so Nick and my brother. Like I'm like, not Nick my husband, but Nick my friend. Like I'll be like, what did you think about this? What did you take away from this? Like me and Nick, my friend, were texting about that show, Something Very Bad Is Gonna Happen on Netflix. We both loved it. I mean, it started falling apart at the end, but we were texting like the symbolism and like certain scenes, and it was just like interesting because his take was completely different from mine. Again, that's why I love art, because everyone sees it and perceives it differently and they interpret it differently, but it also sits with people differently. You know what I'm saying? And you reach different parts of people. You reach different parts of their past or their present or the things that they're working through now. So they go on a date, and then he finally admits he didn't read the fucking book. And I'm like, you should have just led with that. But that was interesting to me, that the relationship kind of started on a lie. But then later on, she doesn't tell a lie. She omits something from her past. I'm like, which one is worse? Is it worse to omit, or is it worse to openly lie and not really bring it up until it kind of forces your hand? So it's just interesting. So then As a couple years goes by, and Mamadou Athi's character Mike is in Charlie and Emma's apartment. Charlie is working on his vows on his laptop with his friends. He's his friend Mike, and he's talking it through and being like, "Bro, does this work? You know, I put this here. I kind of rearranged it there, or moved it over here." And it was interesting. It actually made me think about writing my own vows. I wrote them several times. You know, I'm a writer, so I wrote them probably like 4, 5, 6 times, and I typed them over and over again. I actually sent them to one of my close friends, Agnes, and she read them and she was like, "These are fucking beautiful." She's like, "Bitch, I'm in fucking tears." She's like, "I'm not crying, you're crying." And I was like, "Girl, we gonna be crying together, shit." But on the day of, I was like, "Bitch, we can't mess up this makeup because it costs a lot of money." But then me and my husband, we went and found these really cute cards that had like nice script on them, and we hand wrote them, and then we read those to each other at the altar, and it was a really sweet. I'm not gonna tell y'all what I said, but they were really good vows. I had the whole room laughing, but I also like made sure to pay homage to like those who came before me, because I'm like, because of them, I'm able to openly love who I love, you know. And I know that that wasn't a thing, but you know, in recent memory, you know what I'm saying, like that wasn't allowed. It was illegal, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So it kind of took me down memory lane and brought up some stuff for me. So then I think some other scenes happen. I can't remember everything, which is so pitiful because I just watched this yesterday. So I think they were, was it Charlie and Emma were out on a date or like coming from dinner or something like that? They're walking home or yeah, I think they were walking home because did they have a car? I don't really remember seeing them in the car like that. See, now I can't remember. Hold on one second. So like I said, they're walking, and Charlie sees their wedding DJ, Pauline, smoking heroin in a public park. She's like outside of like a restaurant or a club or something, and she's got a glass pipe. Now, we as viewers can't entirely tell what it is. We just see her doing the motion. But what was I gonna say? So Charlie and Emma have this thing, and Emma's like, "Well, let's not jump to conclusions." And he's like, well, no, I fucking saw it. And she's like, "Well, okay, let me run it back." And so she walks back to try to put the puzzle pieces together. I forget what happens after that. I feel like there's some other stuff too. Yes, there's a couple scenes that I just started to remember. We also see some like different scenes of them with their friends, like talking about the wedding. I actually wish we saw more of the parents, because I feel like parents are just as involved as friends in the wedding planning. And as the closer you get, the more you're like leaning on your family, especially your immediate family, whether it's siblings, whether it's parents. At least that was my experience. But I know it can be different. You know, parents have their own lives. They're fully fledged adults as well, or fully fledged human beings, excuse me. So there was this one scene where, I don't know if it was the same coffee shop where she met Charlie, but Zendaya's character Emma was with 2 of her friends. One of them she worked with at like a library or something to that effect, and the other one was her maid of honor or matron of honor that was Mike's wife. So Emma had asked her to be the matron of honor, and I feel like they were some hating ass bitches. I actually saw some reviews. I remember watching some reviews when it first came out, and they were like, "She ain't got no black friends." And I was actually wondering the same thing. I was like, listen, Linda, you can have white friends, you can have Asian friends, you can have Hispanic friends. But I was like, that's kind of odd to me that this is a black girlie. She's half black, mind you, but she's still black. And I'm like, she ain't got no black friends, no black siblings, no black cousins that's like a sister. I was like, this is not really giving. But I was like, okay, where she's at, you know, she's mixed, so she kind of toes that unique line, you know, in society. But the way that her friends were talking to her, they weren't really pouring life into her. They weren't really emotionally supporting her. And I was like, that wasn't my experience. Actually, I was very emotional and stressed when I was planning my wedding. A lot of people won't tell you that. They'll tell you that, but they'll like sugarcoat it or gloss it over. But I was actually absolutely stressed. And what got me through, besides my family, was actually my friends. My friendships like really saved me, and they healed me, and they just carried me when like I was at my wit's end, about to pull my hair out, about to just be like, fuck this all, like I'm about to elope and let my mama beat my ass later, and let my mother-in-law beat my ass later, and my husband's ass. But it was really my friends that carried me through. They were there with me, looking at dresses, sending me words of encouragement, praying for me, taking all my calls when I like was about to crash out. Like, so I was just like, this is weird to me that these girls, it was just like that snarky undertone of like trying to put someone down to lift yourself up, or like trying to minimize. And I didn't really like how they treated her. I didn't really feel like they were the best support system for her, and I wish she had a better support system. So that was something that kind of hit for me, because I was like, that's never been my experience with my friends. My friends are like my ride or die, okay? So anyway, so then I think that They do a, okay, there's one scene, see, Wikipedia stays skipping shit. I have to remember off of memory because I didn't take any fucking notes. If I took notes, I would have been watching that movie for 4 hours. Ain't nobody got time for that. But there's another scene where Emma and Charlie are doing dance lessons. They're doing like a choreography, like kind of like a waltz type, you know, traditional wedding dance. And the fucking choreographer is a fucking see you next Tuesday. I was like, girl, don't you know what it would have been like? That check is not clearing, bitch. We're done. We're done here, okay? So they do the number and she's watching them, she's critiquing them, and she's like, you guys like almost had it, but you didn't hit your mark. So like, I need you to run it back again. And Zendaya's character is like, no, bitch. Like, she's talking to Charlie, but the choreographer's in the room. I feel like they should have had this conversation in private, but maybe that's just me because like, you technically already asked this person who's talented in the art of dance to choreograph this for you. She choreographed it. She's taking time out of her day. Like, she's working with your body and movement and things like that. You know, just the time and effort and like the skill and the labor of it all, right? And just to be creative enough to come up with a dance that is suitable or appropriate for a wedding. So in the like, I don't want to say ballroom, but you know, like the dance studio, she's like asking Charlie, she's like, you know, like, babe, like, why don't we just like free ball it? Why don't we just swing it? And she puts on this song. It was a good song, but I was like, not for a wedding. She was like, what about this? And it's a song she puts on to like antagonize him. And I'm just like, that's kind of fucked up. But I was like, don't we do stuff like that to our significant others? We do stuff that we know. I feel like when you're like in a serious relationship or a long-term relationship or a marriage, that person knows you so well, so they know just exactly which button to push. They fucking pressing the button until the bitch is mashed in. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how my husband is. I'm like, you know, like on Dee, you know, on Dexter's Laboratory when Dee is about to press the fucking red button that like says do not push. That's literally my husband. That's literally how it is being married sometimes. Well, mostly all the time, but it's not even just him too. It's me too. But he is like my biggest op. I'm telling you, like, I love that man down, but he's my biggest op. And people be like, oh my God, he's so nice. I'm like, this bitch be trolling me every day, all day long, 24/7. He wake up and choose violence, and I'm just like, in my head. I mean, I would never do it, but I'm like, damn, I really am thinking about grabbing that pillow and just, you know, just kidding. No, I wouldn't. I would never. I would actually be so lost and so bored, and I'd be like, oh my God, you know, like the John Travolta of him and like the wallet from Pulp Fiction. But anyway, so Charlie's like, no, I don't want to do this, and the choreographer's like, no, off with their head, like, no, we're gonna stick with this. Like, you can't ask me to change this. Like, that's my creative control, my creativity. Like, she's kind of going up against, and she's kind of like snarky with Emma. That's what I'm saying. A lot of the women in her life were not really like team Emma, and I didn't really fuck with that. I was like, pretty much all the women in my life like are rooting for me, are pouring into me, investing in me, or like giving me the tools I need to be successful, whether it's as a wife, as a student, as a woman, what have you. So anyway, so that happens, and she's like, I don't know about the fucking choreographer because she can catch these hands, and Charlie's just like, oh no, it's nothing. And I'm like, but if your woman, your wife to be tells you she's feeling uncomfortable or she don't want to do this, you should probably figure out a way to compromise, or maybe put a choreographer to the side and be like, you're not about to speak to my wife to be like this. It is what it is. We're doing this, or we're gonna stick with what you gave us. So then I think after that, and you know, there's some sex scenes, there's some good intimacy scenes. I think that they were very believable and realistic. And it was funny when he was going through the vows with his friend Mike, he was actually talked about how good the sex was with her in his vows, and I was like, that's so inappropriate. Your future in-laws do not need to know that. Your parents don't need to know that. Nobody in the room should know that except you two. Maybe you can tell your friends, you know, when y'all having drinks and you in an enclosed space like your house or somewhere private and sacred, that's one thing. But I was like, that is so inappropriate. And Mike was like, don't do it, bro. He was like, let's just take that out and leave everything else in. And then he was talking about how repulsive her laugh is, and she's like wheezing. I was just like, bro, why? And they have like little montage of her just like fucking dying laughing. So anyway, they go to meet with their best friends, Mike and Rachel, who are also their matron of honor and their best man. So I think they're doing like a food tasting, which I'm like kind of shocked that the caterer would even allow them to do that so close to the wedding if it's less than a week away or just about a week away, because my caterer was like, no, bitch. I actually did Mission Barbecue. If I have any girlies or any guys on my timeline or my channel who are getting married, look at Mission Barbecue. It's actually mad affordable. Yes, it's a couple $1,000s, but compared to like a standard caterer that's like more elegant, high-end, like ballroom, ball gown type, Mission Barbecue was the way to go. It was like $5 or $6K for 125 people. Like, it was fantastic. Obviously, rates will vary depending on where you live, but We got multiple appetizers. I think we had like Smoky Mountain meatballs. The meatballs were fucking good. I remember my wedding planner. She was like, "You're not gonna be able to eat, bitch." I was eating, taking pictures. I was like, "I'm fat. You will learn this one way or the other." We had like this big ass cheese wheel with like bread, grapes, charcuterie style. And then I think we had a mac and cheese bar with toppings. That shit was so fire. And I ate every fucking bite. I was like, you bet your sweet ass I planned the fuck out of this wedding with my aunt and my wedding planner and some input from family. But I was very on top of everything. Like, my husband helped, but it was mostly my brainchild, honestly. And then we had our main courses. I think we had like 3 or 4 proteins. We had a turkey carving station. We had salmon, but we had like select quantity of salmon. It was like 20 for 20 people, I think 15 to 20 people. And then I think we had like brisket or pulled pork. I can't remember the other protein. It was like 3 or 4 proteins, which, you know, barbecue is expensive. The turkey carving was for my husband because he loved the turkey at Mission Barbecue. I said, who the fuck goes to a barbecue joint and gets turkey? I said, it's giving white people. I'm sorry. I said what I said. And then we had like multiple sides. I think we had, did we have baked beans? There was salad. What was the other fucking sides, bro? I don't remember, but it was really good. I don't think it was greens. No, I don't remember, bro. It was so long ago. God, I feel so old. And then we had multiple desserts. We had like 4 or 5 cakes. Like, it was like cobbler, cake slices, and it was like full. Not that little sample Costco shit. Like, it was like full blown. So that's why we didn't really go too crazy with our cake, because we were like, well, we're getting cake through our caterer. And we got drinks. We had like lemonade, sweet tea, like simple stuff like that. But it was all really, really good. And it's people were like, we love it, because they're like, we've been to weddings where the food is trash. So I say all that to say, when I was doing my catering for my wedding, that we had to have the final head count and all the selections 2 weeks before, so they could prepare and put the order in and everything like that. And then they would have to come and set up at our actual venue with the rental company, because you usually have a rental company to order stuff like your linens, your tablecloths, your silverware, your platter, your plates, and things like that, your silverware. So yeah, it's a whole thing. Like, you have to be really on point. I actually had a spreadsheet, and I was like documenting when stuff was due. I had reminders on my phone of like, okay, this deposit is due here. And there's other things, like there's the milestones, like, okay, 25% is due now, 25% is due here, 20, you know, like, so I was just kind of shocked, but I was like, it's New York, they bougie, they got money. So anyway, and Charlie and Emma work really pretty cushy jobs, which I was a little bit unbelievable about, but I was like the suspension of the belief was kind of like, I was like, I don't really see it, but I was like, this could be a real thing. Like, you could live in New York, you could work a 6-figure job or close to a 6-figure job, you could afford a certain lifestyle. It's very possible. But that part was a little hard for me to believe, I think, for some reason. So they're at this dinner with their friends, they're drinking wine, and the lady's like, what's your selection? And they're like, we're gonna do the mushroom risotto. And I was like, yuck. I was like, no, bitch, we're not having mushrooms at my wedding. Like, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm a foodie, so I was like, food was very important to us. And we actually did a tasting at Mission Barbecue, and it was fucking fantastic. They actually have a black tie menu that is not really widely publicized. I forget who recommended it to us. We actually went in there. We met with like a catering manager or like an events manager or coordinator, and she was wonderful. Her name was Bobby. Shout out to her. I haven't talked to her in so long. And she like walked us through. She came out with a platter of food. We had enough to take home. She brought out different desserts, and she just like explained everything. Like, and I could text her anytime with questions or anything. So it was just interesting to me that they were doing this like so last minute. I said, do y'all give a fuck? Do y'all care that y'all gotta feed all these fucking people? Like, what y'all about to feed them crumpets? Like, that's what we doing. Little bites, hors d'oeuvres. So anyway, so what I was gonna say was that they're putting the finishing touches on their menu, and they're with their friends. They've been drinking. I've been drinking. They was drinking wine, so you know they was that wine drunk where they start confessing. These are my confessions. I don't know what is going on with me. Sometimes I just do things, and it's just ignore me, guys. So they're talking, and then I think, is it Rachel brings up like, what's the worst thing you guys have ever done? I forgot how it comes about. And well, no, she kind of pissed me off. She gave very entitled white women's. I'm thinking of Jessie Woo, because she always says women's. She gave very entitled white woman. She gave very much like Karen. She gave like, I'm married to a black guy, so like I can't be racist. And it was like, bitch, yes the fuck you can, because like your own prejudices and your own assumptions could just like kind of cloud that. Like, it's like you have to be very aware of who you're married to and like navigating their culture, but also blending that culture with yours. And being cognizant of how you sound and what you say and who you say it in front of, you know, that was another thing. And it was interesting, now that I think about it, Both Mike and Emma were married to people outside of their race, as well as Charlie and Rachel being married to someone outside of their race. Which again is a very interesting thing, because like you have a lot to learn. You teach each other a lot, but you also learn a lot, and then you figure out a way to kind of like meet in the middle, you know. So she starts putting Mike on blast, Rachel, and is like, tell them what you did. And I'm like, he was visibly uncomfortable, and I think that's something sometimes that white people do, and I think this was intentional in the film. I think they like think that they're trying to be like open and transparent and like holding space, but it's really just uncomfortable, and it pushes you to do something you don't want to do. That's a feeling I know all too well. And it was just like, but he just told you he didn't want to tell everyone. Like, that's a conversation you need to have at home or in the car, you know what I'm saying, on the way home. So he confesses that I think she threatens to tell for him, and I was just like, again, you're taking away his agency, and you're taking away his voice and his power. That's his choice to share. If he doesn't want to share, he doesn't have to share. So he shares that what the fuck was it, that he was on vacation with an ex-girlfriend in college. They were like in Puerto Rico or Mexico. I think it was Mexico. And they were walking back home from a bar, and a dog was getting ready to attack them. So the girlfriend, or his ex-girlfriend, kicked the dog, or was like trying to kick the dog off of her. And he used the girlfriend as a shield. And I was like, bitch, that's really bad. And I was like, you must got bad juju if a dog don't fuck with you. But I was like, also maybe the dog was wild. But I was just like, most dogs are chill as fuck. So it's like, maybe it was an energy thing. Maybe it was like a chi. I don't fucking know, bitch. So then they're like, oh, well, that's not that bad. I'm like, okay, it's not great, but it's not like earth shattering to me. So then he's like, well, since you fucking aired out my dirty laundry, bitch, come on down. You call number one, or behind door number one. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, hold on, I need a minute. Cause he's like pushing her. He's like, bitch, you put me on blast. So if it's up, then it's stuck. So she like takes this big ass swig of wine. I said, I can't talk, I swear. And she's like, so when I was younger, that we had this mentally challenged or mentally disabled child in our neighborhood, and he wanted to show me this like abandoned RV like in the woods. And she was like, it was like deep in the woods. And as she's explaining it, she like low-key is trying to justify her poor behavior. And I was like, that's a very white privilege thing to do. It's giving white entitlement. It's giving white privilege, babe. I was like, we don't do that here. We are logic here, okay? So she starts explaining it. She's like, we're in the RV. He's showing me everything. She's like, it's filthy. There's beer bottles everywhere. It's just dirty. And then all of a sudden she goes, I saw this closet and I pushed him in it and I closed the door and I locked him in it and I left him in there. I was like, she need her whole ass beat. She actually needs her ass beat. I was like, you know, like as a viewer, I was like, she did fucking what? And she thought it was okay. Homegirl actually thought it was okay. I was just like, I see why everybody hates Rachel, why everybody wants to smoke with Rachel, because I want to smoke with Rachel. And that's not even probably who this actress is in real life, but I'm like, in my head, I'm going to beat your ass real bad. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, twice on Saturday, 3 times Sunday, ho. And I was just like, oh my God. So then she's like, he was screaming, he was crashing out, he was freaking out. I'm like, because he probably thought he was going to fucking die. And she's like, I just ran and I left him in there. I said, bitch, I know you fucking lying. I was like, are you for real right now? And she was okay. She's like laughing it off. She's just, again, making light of it, not realizing like the consequences of her actions. And then she was like, the dad of that child came looking for him, and he came to their house and was like, hey, have you seen my child? She said no. I was like, if I was that child, I would have fucking snitched. So then they were like, she was like, well, nothing happened. He's okay. And I'm like, how do you know he's okay? What if you traumatize him? What if he has a deep fear of closets? What if he has a deep fear of like darker enclosed spaces? It could be like an airplane. It could be a freaking porta potty. It could be anything. I was like, you don't know how much you might have damaged that person, especially psychologically, emotionally, mentally, yada, yada. I was just like, oh my God, like she really thought what she did was okay. And I was just like, you need your ass beat, for real, for real. So then they're like, well, what happened to him? They're like, oh, well, they found him and he was fine. How do you know that? And she's like, no one ever came back. No one ever said anything to me. So I just kind of like let it roll off my back. And I was just like, she a piece of shit. I was like, she's actually a piece of shit. So then we go to Charlie. And as like everyone's going around the table, it's a small table. It's just 4 of them. It's just a little square table. Emma is sweating fucking bullets. You can see her like visibly like start to get uncomfortable. She's like trying to like bide her time and like bite her tongue, I feel like. So Charlie is like, I cyberbullied a kid so bad. Was it in middle school or high school? I can't remember. That he ended up moving away. And the first thing I thought to myself is, what if he unalived himself? What if you bullied this person so bad that they considered taking their life and actually tried to do it, or actually were successful in their attempt? What would you have done? What would that have been? Would that have actually weighed on your conscience? Like, I was just like, okay. So then we get to Emma. Emma, she been drinking, girl. She can't hold her liquor, right? So she's like, I planned a school, MASS, Pum Pum. I was like, oh. I was like, oh shit. And she was like, I didn't go through with it though. I didn't actually act. Immediately, fucking Rachel's character, oh my God, I just can't believe it. Oh, I was like, now, I'm not condoning mass Pum Pums. I shouldn't have done that. I don't condone mass Pum Pums, okay? It's a very sensitive topic, so I'm trying to tread lightly. I feel like my first instinct as a viewer was like, what was so bad or what was happening to her that she felt the need to do that? What were the events that transpired that led her to do that, that planted that seed, and how did she get through it? So then Rachel's shocked and she's like, oh, I had a cousin who like survived one and is paralyzed and is in a wheelchair. So she felt a personal connection to it, I guess is the best way to say. And I think Charlie like low-key dissociated because he like couldn't believe it. I think he thought she was making it up. Like, I really think he did, and I think he thought, no, it couldn't be my perfect fiance. Like, she's just so incredible. She's so amazing. She's like gorgeous. She's like smart. She's funny. She's nice. She's like the perfect like almost template of what a wife should be. Almost like a Stepford wife type. Like, just very, you know, like she has no flaws. She's just like perfectly imperfect. And it almost reminded me of the character in Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen. Was her name Rachel too? I feel like it was. Victoria Soretti's character, is that her name? I might get her name wrong, but no, is that wrong? Actually, I'm gonna look. Hold on, because now I'm second guessing myself. Hold on, guys. What is her name? That is not her name. Okay. Oh, girl, what did I get Victoria Soretti? Camila Morone, who played Rachel. So, okay, I was right. Her name was Rachel. And Adam DeMarco, who played Nikki. Because Nikki and Rachel had like almost like the perfect relationship on paper, but then you start to see that interiority and you start to see that really that foundation is really not as solid as they thought it was. If you haven't watched that show, you need to watch that show. So anyways, hold on one second. I've been talking too damn long. So anyways, there's like this appalledness, and like even Mike is like, whoa, and Rachel just keeps getting louder and louder, and she verbally like assaults and tries to decimate Emma. It's like she tries to tear her down and puts herself up for what she did. It's just like, but those two incidents cannot compare. And even Emma tried to explain and tried to like give more context, and Rachel just completely wrote her off. She couldn't hear, she didn't want to hear anything. It was like la la la, like it was not going through. She didn't want to receive it. She wasn't open to like really having that conversation. And my friend Nick brought up a good point. It's like, maybe we shouldn't be asking those questions because sometimes we might not want to know the answer. And I truly agree with his assessment on that, because it's like, once you have this information, you're probably never going to see that person the same. You're probably never going to treat them the same. It'll always ring in the back of your mind or rattle around in your brain. And I was thinking about this. I was like, so what would I do if my husband told me that? I was like, I don't know if I could stay married to him anymore, because I would just constantly think about it and be like, so are you going to do this in your current day? Like, I feel like it would just sit with me too much, and it would just like eat at my spirit, I feel like. So then I think the dinner ends and it escalates, and what the fuck, Emma throws up at the fucking table, and then Mike and Rachel are like, we're gonna get an Uber, and then Charlie's like waiting for her like in the lobby in the waiting area, and Rachel and Mike are kind of sitting there, and Mike's like, oh, our Uber's gonna be here in 7 minutes. And so Emma and Charlie get home, and it's just like this awkward tension. There's just like this quiet like hostility just sort of like brewing. And you can tell Emma wants to work through it. She wants to talk through it, but he's not able. I think he can just like barely form a cohesive thought, and he doesn't know how to like really articulate himself. And to me, that shows that he's not really good at expressing big emotions or complex emotions or even like heavier emotions, because she's able to articulate herself really well, but he in the moment I feel like shut down. And I'm like, as a husband and wife, you need to know how to communicate, whether you're feeling here, whether you're feeling low, whether you're feeling below low, like, you know what I'm saying? You have to know how you have to get what's out of your head and convey it to the other person so you guys can work through it together. That's a key thing in marriage. And I think a lot of people actually struggle with that. One of the biggest things I would say in a marriage that's really difficult is actually communication. I'm in a very good and healthy marriage, and I believe it's very solid and it's going to work for the rest of my life. But I do know that like our communication, it'd be like two ships passing in the night, and you'd be like, but bitch, I had said this, but really you had took it as this. Like, how do we? And sometimes it's just like not clear, and sometimes it's not clear, like clearly communicated, but it's also not clearly received on the other end. And I feel like my husband would say the same thing about me sometimes, but sometimes he's so unclear that I'm like, the fuck does that mean? I literally will ask him just like that, like, the fuck does that mean? Like, sir, what? So anyway, let's keep going. So Charlie starts to crash out low key. He's like, how well do I actually know this girl? Like, I thought she was like this empathetic, amazing person, and like now I'm starting to see. So then he starts having these flashbacks of different things she's done, and he's just like, So we find out that Emma was very depressed. She was bullied. She basically, I think, was a military kid. I don't really remember them saying she was military, but maybe I missed that. But she moved around a lot, so she ended up being stationed in Louisiana. She was the new kid. She was like this ambiguous black girl. She had this crazy like bush of a hair. It was beautiful hair, but she was kind of bullied for looking different. She didn't fit the normal like aesthetic, you know, rich white girl, rich privileged white girl. And so she's bullied by these white girls relentlessly. I wish that they had kind of harped on that a little bit more, because it was just simple stuff like, oh, shoving her shoulder in the, you know, passing each other in the hallway or outside on the way to class, indoor or something like that. Or just talking about her. And I feel like her character was almost like another version of like Rue from Euphoria, because, you know, she gets like pushed or something and her Walkman like falls in the fucking muddy water, and she's like, bitch, see you next Tuesday. And I'm like, some kids would say that and some wouldn't. I was like, I wanted a more visceral response. Like, maybe she beat the girl's ass. Maybe she pushed her back. Like, I was like, I wanted something more human. I feel like it's just so typical. We see kids cussing in like shows, especially Stranger Things. Like, it's like, do kids actually say this? Probably. Kids definitely cuss at that age. But I was like, I wanted a more human, more grounded response. And we see her try to fit in, but she just fails miserably. So then we see different montages of, and this is what I said earlier, the girl that was cast as a younger version of Zendaya does not look anything like her. I was like, I think the casting could have been a little bit stronger. The girl who plays her, she's a little bit browner. She's beautiful, and she has like different textured hair. Like, it's still like that curly, kinky textured hair, but it's not. I just kept thinking about like, okay, I noticed stuff like that. I'm like, okay, if there's a brown skin family, I expect the whole family to be brown skin, unless there's like, maybe they're mixed, or maybe one parent is lighter, one parent is darker. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that I really pay attention to. I'm like, that's not believable to me as a viewer. So now, therefore, I'm going to have a hard time sticking with this plot and really being invested in it. You know what I'm saying? So that threw me off a little bit. And then we see different montages of her playing around with her father's rifle, which I kept thinking to myself, where the fuck are her parents? I know her parents work. I'm like, they just were not aware that their daughter was playing with the rifle. Like, did her dad not check the guns? Did he not keep them locked up safely? Like, how does she get access to them? Like, I wish there was more information as to that. And I honestly am someone who is actually terrified of guns. I'm starting to come around to the idea of like safely learning how to use one and safely learning how to shoot one, because this world is very terrifying to me right now, especially as a woman. I feel like I'm seeing so many fucking stories like every day, every fucking week, of women getting unalived, but someone that's closest to them. That's what's scary to me. Like, you should be the safest with your husband, with your kids, and it's just like, I see too many husbands unaliving their wives, and it's terrifying me, for real. And just everyday interactions. Like, at my job, I told y'all I work at a landscaping company, and we have like a garage door, like kind of like a workshop warehouse type area where the guys will come in and out all day, and that's fine. They'll sometimes will leave the garage door open if like they're coming in and out, or if it's just nice weather. And like, we have there's a business next door that attracts a lot of weird vibe people. Like, they're weird vibe. it attracts a lot of odd characters. And sometimes I'll just be working at my desk and I'll look up and there's just someone there. And I'm like, I had no idea that they got in, because we have a doorbell and we have key fobs to get in and out. And we have like a TV with security cameras behind me. But sometimes when you're locked in the zone, you don't even know. And people feel very entitled to come into our business. They're like, I'm just going to walk in and do whatever. And a lot of the times they come in, they don't call ahead. They just show up and they just expect, gimme. And you're like, back the fuck up before you get cussed out. Like today, for instance, I knew she was coming though, because she called a new customer we just got. For some reason, this lady fucking loves me. She's like bougie and rich. She's really like a white Edna Mode. Like, I swear to God, like she got the Edna Mode bob cut. She don't got the bangs. She's rich as fuck. She like walking in with her fucking Yorkie. Like, she's really one of them. But she's like a little eccentric or eclectic, but she's really nice. Like, you know, she gonna pay her bills. You know, she gonna be about her business, but she's very demanding. And I got her. She was like a customer that I inherited because she was new. She came on board after I started there. So she had called me at like 4 o'clock and she was like, what time do you get off? And I was like, 4:30. Like, I've told you so many times that you've called and asked me on the phone. But anyway, and she's like, I'm going to come by and drop off a check. Like, shit like that. And you'd be like, oh my God. But some of our customers, they live local. They're elderly. They're retired. They're rich. They ain't got shit else to do. So they're just like, hey. And it's like, hey, bitch. Like, what's going on? So I forgot where the fuck I was going with that. But what I was going to say is, because of my safety as a woman, it's me and one other admin. And a lot of the times me and her are alone in the afternoon. Like, sometimes the guys will come back later, like the laborers who are actually doing the landscaping, or they'll come in waves. Like, maybe one crew comes back at 1 o'clock, another comes at 1:30, another 2:15, 2:45. You know what I'm saying? But there's periods and peaks where me and her are just alone. And then she leaves at 3:30. So I'm there for an hour by myself. And I'm usually the last one in the building because my boss and his wife are in and out because they're out there hustling. They also have kids. So, you know, they got to be out the door for their stuff. So they be leaving that garage door open, and any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come in there. And I'll be like low-key terrified. Sometimes I'll lock the door. I'll go close the garage door. I'll just check around because I'm like, I could literally come out the bathroom. There could be someone, they could like try to assault me or something, and I have nothing to defend myself with. So I've started to come around to the idea of it. I think I was just very apprehensive and terrified of them, especially to keep it a buck with you. I said a buck with you. Like, I think also seeing like police brutality and stuff has kind of scared me and terrified me a little bit. But I'm like, okay, if I can learn how to safely use it and safely register and like use it only if I have to. And I'm knock on wood, I pray to God I don't have to. But my husband's kind of been on my ass because he is pro-gun. And, you know, he's comfortable with them. I'm like, I've never shot one. I've never really seen one up close until, you know, he has brought some in the house overshare. But they're safely locked up. It's more so for like if an intruder comes. We do live on a main road too. And that was actually terrifying for me. But he's always like, baby, I want you to have a way to protect yourself, especially when you're with our child alone in the house. And I was like, that's true. So that also has made me come around to it because, you know, we're going to be expanding our family in the future. I'm not going to tell y'all hoes when though. You could guess. Just when I get fat, you'll know then. Or fatter, excuse me. So, I see these different montages. She's like with this rifle. It almost reminded me of One Battle After Another, which I fucking hated that movie. I have no idea how it won all of these awards. I hated Teyana Taylor's character, and I think she's actually a really great actress. She's very multi-talented and multifaceted. It's very fair enough to say she's a multi-hyphenate, but I was like, that character did her no justice. And I was like, she was just so sexually charged and like overly, she was a character that I do not feel was written with authenticity. I really think that PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson, really needed a black woman to help him write that character, like a very specific, I don't want to say a very specific black woman, a black woman who does not act like that, because I was like, I don't know any black women who are Perfidia Beverly Jones, which was Teyana Taylor's character. I absolutely hated that movie. It had a phenomenal cast. The writing and the script, it was a horrible fucking movie. I was so fucking pissed, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm not like jumping the gun. I actually really wanted to see it when I saw the trailer. And then I waited, and that was another polarizing film. Either people really, really loved it or people really, really hated it. But I was like, Teyana Taylor has done better roles than that. And the fact that y'all awarded her for that bullshit, I was like, that really pissed me off. TikTok over. But anyway, so yeah, we see these different montages. It's not funny that she was planning to commit the mass event, but it's ironic and comedic in a dark way because she tries to like record these manifesto videos. She tries to be like, she tries to basically leave like an unaliving note behind, like I'm about to go run it up in the school. And every time she does, like her computer crashes, she has no storage, it's not charged, like she just keeps running into all these issues. And we see her like with like this war paint on, and she's like taking images on a cell phone, like with her middle finger up. She's got like a blunt, she's got the rifle, like she's really portraying this character that she really is not. She's almost trying to act like she's like a renegade or a revolutionary, but that's not really her. And it's just like, just be yourself. But it's like being herself got her bullied, so I guess she was trying something else. And I've watched a couple of reviews between today and yesterday that were saying it's highly unusual for there to be Black mass unalivers. And I was like, yeah, that is, I don't know if it's true, I haven't looked it up, but I'm sure that they exist, but you just don't hear about it in comparison to white men. And it's very specific white men. It's not all white men, but it's like that very, I was texting my friend Nick, and I was like, it's a very specific aesthetic, a very specific mindset or belief system that these guys that do this have. And I was like, to me, that's very violent and terrifying and dangerous in my book, but what do I know? So then Charlie starts to view Emma through a very, he views her as like an abuser, like a perpetrator. And again, what she was planning to do was not right. I don't condone it. But I love what the camera does with this. We see the younger version of her with him, like with the gun and stuff, and like him holding her, and it's just like her younger teenage self. So he's reduced her to this horrific moment in her past, and he can't see past that. And I was just like, so you're not ready for marriage then? Like, there's some stuff obviously you cannot excuse or pardon. Like, you probably need to walk away from the relationship. But Charlie just like really crashes out. He just goes like on a downward spiral. Like, he's like a bird, and he just plummeting from the sky. Like, Charlie cannot handle it. You can tell that. My guess would be that Charlie's very coddled. He probably came from money or a very privileged background. He's probably never dealt with something so stressful or so traumatic, whether it be to himself or to someone that he loves and cares about. You just can tell he's kind of coasting through life, and he has like those rose-colored lenses on. And honestly, not to shit on him, but my husband kind of has the same approach. Like, I don't want to say he doesn't have any trauma, but I think in comparison to me, I just have had a long history with it, so I'm very almost comfortable with it. But my husband, not really. Like, stuff doesn't stress him out. It just rolls off his back. He doesn't ever worry. What is his saying? He always says glass half full, and I always think of the glass half empty, because I'm like, I'm a woman of color. I'm a woman and I'm Black. Those two things, alone. And then I'm the underdog in society. But he is just very different, and I'm trying to get him to see like that's not everyone else's experiences. And you have, the world is your oyster. The world is not my oyster. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very interesting. So, then we find out that Emma did not go through with it because there was actually another mass event at a local mall near the school, and one of their classmates actually passed away as a result because he was a victim of it. So then she changes her mind. She sees the grief, and they're guided through some grief exercises by like a counselor or a teacher or something like that in the gym. And they're doing these exercises, and she comes face to face with her bully, and she cries, and she like falls on her arms, and I'm like, no, I'm putting hands and feet on that lady. What do you mean? I'm not hugging my fucking bully. Like, you got me fucked up. So then she is in class, and they're talking about how people who commit mass unaliving are typically, white and male. And she's like, no, well, there are Black, mass unalivers and things like that. And she starts rattling off some statistics and things like that. And this kid in her class sees her, and he takes notice of her, and she feels visible, she feels seen, she feels valued, she feels like she's not the ugly duckling or just the black stain, on the piece of paper, like that ink blot. And so he approaches her. He's like, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to join this group? And it turns out it's actually a anti-gun advocacy group. And she starts finding her roots and finding her community and like really finding her voice. They like appoint her as like a spokesperson. We kind of see her getting her. Remember that? What was that movie? Not On the Come Up. What was that movie with Amanda Stenberg where her friend got unalived by the police? I can't remember the name of that movie. It wasn't On the Come Up. Hold on, let me look up. What was her name? The Hate U Give. I couldn't remember. I actually really liked that movie, even though it like really broke my heart. The book was fantastic too. But she kind of had like that, Black power type thing going on. I kind of felt like that was a cheap shortcut. I didn't really like that. I wasn't really vibing with that, but I was like, I understand what the storyteller is trying to say. So then, what was I gonna say? So then there's some funny scenes, like for instance, Charlie remembers they're having sex, and she's like slapping him or punching him during sex, and he's like, was this bitch always crazy? And it's like, well, you've been with her this whole time. How the fuck did you not know who she was? But really, I think I watched Fish Jelly film reviews. I had watched it when the review first came out, and I watched it again yesterday as like part of my research and just to hear what other people thought. And he was like, oh, what did he say? Damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say. They made a point about that, and now I lost my train of thought. But this review is too motherfucking long. I'm not talking about nothing in this review. I haven't even gotten to my point. I'm gonna try and hurry up. So then what did he say? And then there's another scene where Emma and him are crossing the street, and this cab or this car is about to hit. I don't think it was a cab. I think it was a car was about to hit him, and she crashed out on them in the middle of the street. And she's like, "Fuck you!" Like, she's going ham. And he's like, "Was she always a little bit off? And maybe I just never noticed it. Like, she's a little off kilter a little bit." And then the next morning she wakes up and they're getting ready and they're like making breakfast and stuff. I think I actually really loved it. I thought it was really creative and I thought it was really clever. I think Robert Pattinson's character Charlie was in the kitchen chopping up like beets or something. It looked like blood. I think he was making a smoothie, so it was just really red, really bloody looking. So then she comes into the kitchen, they switch places, and then he had actually thrown this cup away that said coffee or I'll shoot or something like that. It was just like a pun, right? And she sees it in the trash and she's like, this bitch just threw away my mug. And then she has the knife that he was using to cut the beets or whatever. I don't think it was beets, but it was something red, like pomegranates or something like that. That was very rich and red. And she comes in the room and he's sitting on the bed getting himself ready for work. He's got his like shirt on. I was like, why the fuck would you, he had his shoes on and socks but no pants. I said, why the fuck would you put your shoes on before you, I said, so you the weird one. What the fuck is you talking about? You getting mad at her, but it's really you, bitch. So she comes in there with the knife. It's like a butcher knife or something. And she's waving it around and he's like, and she's like, what? You think I'm gonna do? Like, it's like, like, it was just so funny. Just like, it was just so subtle little things that I noticed that I thought was like really great artistic choices. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but I was literally dying. I was like, see, this is why I didn't go to the movie and see it. Because I actually was considering going to go see it and then I didn't because I heard so much backlash about it, but I probably should have went and fucking saw it. That's what I'm trying to do, challenge myself to go see stuff I normally wouldn't. And it was just little things that like, I was like, damn, I'm out here. I sound like a freaking donkey or a dolphin just out here just dying laughing because it was like really inappropriate scenes that I should not be laughing at, but I found such humor in. So then some other stuff happens and then there's some montages of like a grown-up Emma with the rifle in bed. She's like in lingerie, but she's got the gun because Charlie gets to work the next day. He's like an art curator at like a museum. And he has this book on his desk that's like models with different guns, and they're like dressed in very sexy clothes, like lingerie or whatever. So he's crashing out. He's like, "Who the fuck put this on my desk?" And then like we see the images of Zendaya, her character, in like the lingerie with the gun, and it's like, so is this sexy now because she's sexy to you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was very interesting. Like, I think that there were some really great shots and we could kind of sometimes see like crackles, like, you know, like old black and white, like grainy films. I mean, it was just genius. Like, it was a very colorful, like visually appealing film. Just like the palette and the color scheme was really great for me. I actually really love Zendaya's styling, like her hair, her makeup, because I think she was wearing like her natural hair. She looks so beautiful with her natural hair. Can we like say that? I want to see her wear it more. Just like her lipstick choice, just the outfit she was wearing, all of the characters really. I really loved Misha's styling in this movie. Like I said, the sound design, the score was actually fantastic too. I can't even describe it, but it kept kind of like raising those stakes and like also raising your blood pressure at the same time or your pulse, and you're just like, what the fuck am I watching? But I was in there hollering. I say, like, sometimes I had to pause and be like, bitch, did you just, because I was in there watching it while I was folding laundry. So then Rachel kind of blows Emma off. She's like done with the friendship, and she was supposed to help work on this marketing project or market this project for Emma, because I guess Rachel does marketing. And Emma's boss is like, hey, where's your girl? Like, she's supposed to be working on this. And Emma's like, oh, she's like very bad at time management. She won't come forward and tell her what the truth is. And there's a couple scenes early on in the movie where Charlie comes to see Emma at work when they're first courting and first dating, and she like has like a panic attack. So it's like that trauma of what happened. Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, the reason why she's deaf is because the kickback from the gun. She had tried to shoot it in like the woods or something, or the swamp, And I think she shot it too close to her ear, so it made her ear bleed and it caused her to lose hearing. So it's like she still is living with that trauma. She's still living with that decision or the lack of that decision. And I thought that that was a really great character choice. Now when I watch TV, I'll be like, why is this person that? Like House of the Dragon, one of the characters was like a twin and something happened to the twin. And I was like, oh, that's genius. Like, it's very specific choices that serve and drive the plot that I really absolutely love. As my writing professor from George Mason said, it's the engine. He was like, what engine is it? Is it the character engine? Is it the plot engine? Like, I was like, sir, I'm not even in a car right now. Like, the fuck are you talking about? So I feel like I'm all over the place with this review. I'm sorry, guys. So then, again, Rachel blows her off. Even Emma's coworker or her boss, that I think is also her friend, she's kind of a see you next Tuesday. I was like, these girls is haters. They is hating ass bitches. Like, I don't want you around me. Ew, yuck. So then Emma's like, well, you should just kind of cut ties with her on this project. Maybe we could just find someone else, maybe another time. So then Rachel's like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. So then Charlie tries to go and talk to Mike and Rachel to try to smooth things over, to get them to still come to the wedding, to still get them to participate and just support them on their big day, which I feel like if I had beef with my friends, I would actually still show up for them. Like, even if I don't agree with it, even if I'm not into it. Like, okay, I didn't have beef with this friend. Hold on one second. I'm about to tell y'all some tea. Hold on. And I don't know if she watched my channel, but shout out to her. So I didn't have beef with anyone per se. I just didn't like what happened. So one of my friends was getting married near the time that I was getting married. And we bonded over that. We became really close over that because she was also friends with one of our other friends. So we had a mutual connect. And then we tried to develop our own relationship or friendship, right? So long story short, her and her husband decided to open their relationship. And I did not think that that was a great idea, because I was like, if you need to do that, then that means that there's something lacking. That's how I perceive it. Or maybe you feel like you have more than enough love or intimacy or whatever to give. I don't know. I don't condone it. I don't co-sign it, but you do what you do behind closed doors and in your bedroom, right? So she had confided in us that this was going on. No, actually, I think it was happening before. No, you know what happened? I'm sorry. My friend's husband, before they got married, had stepped out on her. And I didn't like that. And then I think instead of doing the inner work to forgive and to work through it, he proposed. And I feel bad for saying this. I feel like it was like a here damn ring. Like, here, shut up. You want this ring so bad? Here. Then it's going to take the heat off of him. So I really think that's what it was. That's what I think was really what had pissed me off. But I'm like, listen, I probably wouldn't have stayed, but that's just me. I'm like, other women are different. I don't know her background a whole lot with dating and like what she's gone through. Maybe she really I think she really wanted a future. I think she really wanted a family. I think she really wanted to be married. I think she wanted to be settled down. And I respect that, because I was definitely like that around the same time as her. But I didn't like the fact that she went through with it, because I was like, I think y'all should have worked it out to figure out if you really wanted to move forward, instead of accepting a ring that potentially did not have the promise of fidelity with it. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but this is just my 2 cents. So they got engaged and got married very quickly. Like, it was like summertime proposal, fall wedding. And I was like, okay. And it was hard for me, because I knew how much the cheating had broken her and how devastated my friend was. And it was really hard for me watching her go through that. And I knew how much she wanted to be a mother, and I knew how much she wanted to be a wife. And she was a thicker girl. She's a baddie though. Like, very smart, gorgeous, entrepreneurial, like funny. Like, she's that girl. Like, I don't think she knew how much of that girl she really was. And I just tried to be there for her. And she told me she was going to still marry him. And I'm like, okay, that's what you're going to do. I did not like the choice. I wouldn't have chosen it for her. I wouldn't have chosen it for myself if I were in her shoes. But what did I do? She asked me to be in her bridal party. I was there for her. I shut the fuck up. I smiled. I took my pictures. I got the dress she wanted. I got the shoes, the jewelry, the flowers, everything. I just said, I'm going to be there for my friend regardless, because sometimes we have to let the people we love make decisions that we might not be in support of, and that's okay. So anyway, what I say to say is, if that had happened with me and my friends, I would have still shown up to the wedding and I would still would have supported them, whether they wanted me to be in the wedding, whether they wanted me to attend as a guest, bitch, whether they wanted me to hold a sign saying, here, go to table number 5, like, I would have done whatever. That's how I am with my friends. Again, even if I don't love the choice. So Charlie fibs a little bit. I realized Charlie is like a masterful liar. Like, I realized also too, our Pat be playing lying ass bitches, because in Twilight, Edward was a lying ass bitch. I said what I said. He stayed lying to Bella, and it was just like, bro, like, she gave you so many chances. Women are so forgiving. But anyway, so he goes to, I think, Rachel's job, and Mike is there, and they're sitting in like this conference room, this cushy conference room. It's like hoity-toity, like bougie, right? And he's like, you know, because Emma shares that earlier in the movie, she shares that she had a friend that passed away when she was younger, and he was trying to like use that as an excuse for her trauma as to why she was about to do the mass shooting. And I was like, but she just told you one event did not have to do with the other. It was completely separate incidents, a completely isolated incident. So he uses that and fibs and says she watched her friend die. And they actually, what I think the movie does great is when a character is explaining something, they give you visuals to go along with it, because I'm a very visual person. Some stuff is like you just have to trust the dialogue, or you just have to trust body language. One thing that me and my husband were really mad about Top Boy is stuff would happen off camera or off screen, but then the characters would talk about it as if the audience knew. No, give me all the visuals. You don't have to shove it down my throat, but I want to see a little something. So it's like he changes Emma's narrative, and he changes her relationship with trauma and her relationship with like her past and just like memory. And I didn't like that. And Emma wasn't there, so she didn't even know that this happened. So he's like, she watched her friend die, like she saw the whole thing, like it really messed her up, she like didn't have anyone. So then Rachel is like, she kind of calms down, she goes from like high heat to like, okay, I'm cooling down, like maybe not full blown ice or cold, but you know, I'm getting to humanize or empathize with her. And I'm like, so it took her being traumatized for you to see her. I was like, that's bullshit. And I was like, it's giving white women tears real bad. I was like, real bad. So then he's like, please still come to the wedding. And then Rachel's like, I think Rachel's assistant or her coworker came in and was like, we really need you to approve this campaign or whatever. So then it kind of the conversation is nipped in the bud. As fucking Charlie is leaving, bro, he encounters her cousin, Rachel's cousin, that she was like was in a wheelchair and paralyzed from forever because of the mass event that she survived. Girl, he trying to talk to her. He's like, are you her cousin? Like my girlfriend, my fiance is fantastic. It's like he's trying to work out what's in his head with a complete stranger who has nothing to do with the incident. He's trying to convince himself that Emma is still a good person, that she's still worth marrying, that he still wants to go through with it, that he still sees a future with her. And I was like, if you have to go through all that and it's so much tug of war and internal strife with yourself, you probably don't need to be getting married. Like, I don't think that they should have gotten married, but spoiler, they do get married. So I was just like, okay, this is the part where I think the whole thing is drama, but the ending of the movie, like the third act, it really fucking sent me. I was gagging because I was like, these people is really fucked up. They have like no self-awareness and they don't know how to like, sometimes you just have to sit back and shut the fuck up. I had to tell myself that at work last week. I was like, I be talking too much. I was like, let me just sit back, shut up, absorb what's being said to me and process it and move on. Sometimes we have to do that in life. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second. So, what was I gonna say? So then we see, this is one of the best scenes actually of the movie. I'm sorry, y'all. I swear I'm almost done. Bro, I've been talking so long. So then we see Charlie at work. He's in this long, like boardroom, like conference room. It's at this long table. He's sitting on one side, his coworker Misha's sitting on the other. She was also a baddie too. I was like, she's kind of cute. I loved her styling. She had like this long dark hair. She kind of gave like Kat Dennings vibes, or Jennings. I can't remember her last. Dennings, I think is her last name. She had like this dark hair, like the porcelain skin, red lipstick. Her nails were like this ruby red. The blood. Oh, I just thought about that. And she had like this like ruby red, not ruby red. It was like a dark red top, like silk blouse on. She looked so cute though. I was like, I kind of have a crush on her. So they're eating lunch. Charlie's food is just fucking sitting there. Why did it remind me of the fucking the fucking cat salad or tuna fish sandwich fucking, what's her name? What is she? Nikki in Obsession. For some reason, I kept thinking about that. I said, bitch, don't you eat that salad that she fucking packed for you. So he's sitting there, he can't eat, and he's just sitting there, and then finally he just comes out with it. He was like, what would you do if a hypothetical boyfriend, or no, he asked her what's the worst thing she's done. She was like, I cheated on someone. She was like, I was dating this really nice guy for a couple of years, and I stepped out on him because he was just too boring, he was too safe, sexually we weren't compatible. So she's like, I slept with his married friend. His married friend treated me like shit. And like the end, she's like, I felt bad about it, but I had great sex in the end with the married friend. So I kind of won, lost, you know, instead of lose, lose, win, lose. So he's like, oh, he was like, well, hypothetically, he was like, what about your boyfriend now? Like anything there? And she's like, no. And he's like, what if he was going to commit a mass event and he didn't do it? He was like, what would you do? She was like, call the police. And I was like, but what the fuck does something from 15 years ago have to do with today in 2026? I was like, that don't make no sense. They can call the police and do what? You can't prove anything. You don't have concrete physical proof. You know, the police are going to be like, get the fuck out of here. So then he keeps upping the ante, upping the scenario. And she's just like, no, like, I don't think I could do it. Like, I probably wouldn't see them the same. I couldn't operate in the relationship. And so he just fucking crashes out, bro. He like, I forget, he just started crying, carrying on. I mean, he really took crash out to the max. Like, he cranked that bitch up. So I forget what happens. He goes in another room. He starts like, he's like not convulsing, but he's like keeled over, like almost in the fetal. And he just starts shaking and crying. So she tries to comfort him and she hugs him. He started feeling on her. He started French kissing her, tongue kissing her. I'm like, oh my God. And then he starts ripping her blouse open. I'm like, so you really about to cheat on your fiance because you can't handle something from her past? I was like, how old are we? How old are we? So then not Rachel, Misha turns around and she like hikes up her skirt and she's just gonna go along with it. And something that I wanted to say that I kind of related to was like, as a woman, when you're with a guy and he makes a pass at you and then it gets physical, sometimes we don't actually want it. We just submit because it's a matter of safety. And I've been in her shoes before, maybe not necessarily in the workplace, but definitely when I was younger and stupid and not thinking about safety and just like bodily autonomy and consent and stuff like that. You just do it and you just perform because you know if you don't, that you run the risk of them violating you anyway. And I think that's kind of where she was, because some people are like, oh, she wanted it, but it's like, I don't think she was actually into him in that way. I think it was just like a knee-jerk reaction. Like she felt like she had to do it. I don't know how to explain it, but I saw this this black girl who's like really talented. I don't remember her name because I've never watched her videos before, but she did a really great breakdown on it and why this movie was ruffling so many people's feathers. But she was like, that girl did not want that. She just was like going along with it. And I think a lot of women do that. And she just felt like, well, he's vulnerable. If I give him sex, maybe he won't be vulnerable. Maybe he won't crash out. Like it was like almost soothing, not self-soothing, but soothing someone else. And I think women, we tend to do that a lot. So then he stops and he's like, what am I doing? And he like zips up his pants and he fucking leaves. Meanwhile, he didn't tell Emma none of this shit. And I forget, I feel like someone else pointed this out. I don't remember which content creator, so please forgive me. But they were saying that it really focused on the fallout or the emotional response from Charlie. And I do wish we actually got to see more of Emma's response, because really it was her experience that caused all of this. But I really think seeing more of what she was going through and seeing like how was she handling things, but she was just very open. She wanted to talk, she wanted to have that hard conversation, and Charlie kept running like a little ass bitch. I'm sorry. And there was one scene where him and Mike were like in the park or like outside, and Mike like told him to leave her. He was like, just go back to the fucking the States, Jesus Christ. He's like, just go back across the pond, go to London, I'll punch that bitch if I see her. So you were gonna punch your fucking best friend's fiance in the face for something she didn't actually do? Again, not condoning it, but I was just like, that just escalated. It went from 0 to 100. I really don't think his friends were really her friends. I think they were friends she inherited, but she didn't really have a connection with. And sometimes we have to do that. We have to be around people we don't necessarily like, we don't necessarily vibe with because of our partner. And that's another thing too. I just didn't feel like they had her best interest at heart. I feel like they really tolerated her. I don't think that they really actually liked her or cared for her, because if they did, they would have went to check on her. We never saw them call her. We never seen them try to work it out or have a follow-up conversation. They just immediately wrote her off. They basically canceled her. And I think this movie was a meditation on cancel culture and just like performative outrage and like selective outrage. And I really love that. Because we are a society that is conditioned to that, and we're very used to that, and we lean on that. But it's like sometimes we need to get all the facts. Sometimes we really need to critically think. Critically thinking is literally going extinct like the fucking dinosaurs, okay? Like people just do not think for themselves. They just believe whatever they see online, and it's like, do your research, do your homework, like actually read, actually look beyond the headlines, start looking at different sources and comparing. Like I wish that was still a thing, you know? So Um, what was I gonna say? So, oh yeah, so then, hold on. This is almost the end. Sorry, I probably got another 10 minutes. I said that bitch watch me be talking for 20 minutes. So then we see Charlie and Emma go to the wedding venue and they see their DJ, the one that they thought was smoking heroin, on the street. So it's a little, oh, and there's this really fantastic scene, I'm sorry, where see, Wikipedia left this out, where they meet with their wedding photographer. she's like this, like, she's kind of like a Karen, but she's like borderline Karen. And when you watch the movie, you'll see what I mean, because she's like so oblivious but like locked in at the same time. It's very interesting. So they meet with her to discuss like the sequence of shots. So usually when you're getting married and you're planning a wedding, your photographer will want to meet with you. It could be a text, it could be an email, it could be in person, video. There's so many mechanisms, right? Ours, we just texted them. I think we just emailed them. We were like, hey, here's a shot list we want to do. If it goes according to plan, great. If not, we can just wing it and figure it out on the day. And our weather was so gorgeous. It was like November 4th, and bitch, it was like 70 degrees, a breeze. It was just so gorgeous. All the fall leaves had come. Oh my god, it was so pretty. But they went to meet with her to figure out, okay, so we're gonna do some shots with grandparents, we're gonna do couples only, or we're gonna do the bridal party. Like maybe you'll just do like the groom and his groomsmen, the bride and her bridesmaid, like, you know, just different things like that. And the emphasis on the word shoot or shot was so funny to me. Like, again, not funny about the mass event, but it was just interesting, like the play on words. Like, I think that the script writing is actually very clever. There were some pieces that I wish were a little bit tighter or like had more explanation or exposition, but overall I really enjoyed it. And the photographer, she just like keeps saying it. And then even so, she senses some tension between them, and she's like, well, why don't we just do like a little practice, like fun shoot, like let's just wing it, let's try to curate those vibes for your upcoming, I think their wedding was on a Friday, or I think it was on a Saturday if I'm not mistaken. For my girlies that are engaged or want to get engaged, get married during the week. Do not get married on the weekend. If you're gonna get married on the weekend, get married on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, those rates skyrocket, especially Saturdays. That's the most popular day. I remember we were wedding venue shopping, and the venue that we picked, it was expensive, but it came with decor. It came with a lot of things that we didn't have to spend a lot of extra money on. And we were able to, there was an upstairs and downstairs, so we were able to repurpose decorations downstairs and bring them upstairs. And they had chairs, they had tables, a lot of the stuff that you would have to pay extra to rent, right? So look for stuff like that, one. And two, I remember on the Saturday rate was almost $10,000, and I was like, absolutely not. And we like signed with them just as they were about to increase their prices. Also, there's peak seasons. So like the spring, summer, and fall are peak seasons. Try to pick a month that isn't as peak or in demand, because then you'll get a better rate there. So that's just my 2 cents for all my girlies or guys that are getting engaged, getting married, all that, or planning weddings, anything like that, or want to plan a wedding because they're expensive as fuck. Yes, I said it. I had a budget and I completely fucking exceeded my budget. I was like, girl, this shit is more expensive than I thought. And like, I scrimped and saved and budgeted the fuck, and it's just, you attach wedding to anything, you're blowing it out the water, okay? Your bank account gonna be like, oh my god, what happened? It's like, bitch, the wedding happened. So they fire the DJ, and the DJ's like, Charlie is such a wimp to me. I'm sorry, he's such a PUSSY to me, because he can't face conflict. He can't have that hard conversation. I think Emma's a lot more emotionally intelligent and emotionally sound than him, even though she was considering doing this mass event. I think the older version of her is much more mature. She can handle things head on. Charlie cannot handle confrontation. He cannot handle, again, having those hard conversations or anything emotional or anything heavy or anything uncomfortable. So he's like gassing her up because they hear this music playing, and he's like, what is this? She's like, oh, it's me. I used to create music. And he's like, oh, do you still make it? Like, you're super talented. So then this bitch starts crying, but I think he's actually crying because he cheated on Emma, but he hasn't told her. So he starts fucking breaking down into tears, sitting down, whining like a little fucking baby. And Emma's like, listen, we saw you on the street. We want to let you know we're not moving forward with you as a DJ because we can't have someone who's participating in this paper. And I really don't think she wanted to do it either. She was visibly uncomfortable, but she carried it a lot better. Again, she was much more emotionally sound than him in this exact moment. So then they fire her, and then we get to the wedding. We don't see them do their vows, which I thought was interesting because that was like one of the opening scenes in the movie, besides their meet cute, or their failed meet cute. So then we see them at the altar. Zendaya's dress is gorgeous. I actually feel like that's a dress she probably would have worn to marry Tom Holland. I think she looks so beautiful because she has like that very slender, sleek, petite frame, and she just looks like a model because of her height as well and just her features. So we see her dress is gorgeous. He's looking handsome. And then they're sitting down and Rachel's just giving her dirty eyes. And I'm just like, oh my God. Then we see, oh, wait. After they get married, they walk down the aisle and then they go do some of the shots with their photographer, like with their family and stuff. As Charlie's taking pictures with Emma and their parents are flanked on either side of them. Fucking Misha walks by and she's giving him eyes. He's giving her eyes. Then Emma notices, so she's locked in. I'm like, just because a bitch ain't saying something don't mean she not watching. I'm very much her, and I think my niece is like that too. I told you I have twin nieces. One of them, she don't be saying shit, but she be so locked in. I was like, I told my brother, I was like, you gonna have to watch out for her because she's always gonna be plotting. Like, her head be on a swivel. She not saying nothing. She's not giving you any indicator she's watching, but she always listening. She's always feeling and she's always locked in and tuned in. I was like, girl, everybody be like, oh, they be like, oh, she act like you. Because my niece also don't have time for bullshit. She's only 1.5. They're only 1.5. And she'll give you a face and she will read you with just her entire face. Like, it be cracking me up. That's kind of how Emma is, but she's she's able to be more neutral about it. But anyway, so then some stuff happens and then I think they go back in the main room with all their guests, like the reception. They're all sitting down, and Emma's dad gives a great speech. And then he talks about her being a gun activist at her wedding. I was like, that's a weird thing to bring up at such an intimate celebration and intimate gathering. I was like, that wasn't the right time. But I think the writers put that in there to give to the audience. And he was like, I was so proud of her because she got rid of my rifle. But it's like, no, she threw that shit in the swamp. Yeah, I forgot to tell y'all, she throws the gun in the swamp. So then he says a speech. I think Charlie gets up. He's like a little toasted. He gives a horrible speech. He talks about the sex that Mike told him not to say. He just fumbles. He's like, Emma, I don't deserve you. Like, you're the love of my life. Fuck what anyone thinks. He's really getting out all that inner turmoil and inner dialogue that he's been feeding himself. It's like because it kind of leading up to the wedding, like after she revealed that big explosive secret, it was like, will they or won't they? And I was like, I kind of felt like they were going to go through with it because I think it would just be so... they would feel ashamed if they had to cancel a wedding. I honestly wonder, people who cancel weddings or call off weddings, how do you communicate that to people? Like, I'm so serious. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, how do you tell people that? How do you tell your vendors? How do you tell your family? How do you tell your friends? Especially if you have people traveling, especially from another country, another state, and just making all these arrangements, especially if you're in the actual wedding and maybe you don't live close by. Like, how do you do that? I was just like, that has to be a hard thing, like on both sides. And what if you call it off and then get back on and then what do you do? Like, do people have some apprehension because it's like, are you going to call it off again? Like, people make so many arrangements to support people at weddings. So it's just like, that's really tough. But I actually think it would be better to call off a wedding instead of going through with it. Like the people on fucking Love is Blind. That's why I don't watch that show anymore. Because it's like, it's clear that a lot of these people do not need to be getting married. Another show that used to piss me off that would do that is 90 Day Fiance. It's like, it's clear that they should not be getting married. They have no business getting married. Yet they still go through with it. And then 2 years later, we see them divorced and crashing out on social media. Like, stop it. So, Charlie gives a horrible fucking speech and it's awkward, it's tense a little bit. And then Mike, his best man, gets up and says a speech and he tries to smooth things over. Mike is me and I am Mike. Like, even if I don't fuck with everything and even if I'm kind of like I told you with my friend earlier, I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to smile and wave, boys, smile and wave. The penguins of Madagascar. That's going to be me. I'm going to talk shit behind closed doors and I'm going to call you and be like, girl, sister, I wouldn't have done that. Or talk shit to my husband because he know all my tea. But I'm not going to make a scene. I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to put you on Front Street. Like, I'm just going to hold you down and then we have that conversation later. Rachel's bitch ass gets up and we see her and Misha interacting. So I'm like, y'all bitches are sniggling and giggling, as Jada on the Rock says. Like, what's going on here? Y'all don't need to be kikiing that much. Like, stop it. There ain't nothing that you can't talk about with her that you can't talk about with me. So then Rachel gets up. She takes all these jabs at Emma. And I'm like, what kind of friend is you? So was you really her friend? Because it's given I tolerated you. Not that I loved you or that I liked you or wanted the best for you or had your best interest at heart. But she sits down. Everyone claps. And then I think they all sit down. They're like eating, talking and stuff. Or not eating, but maybe kind of like mingling and stuff. And then I think what happens? Emma leaves. She goes to the bathroom, and then she overhears Misha and fucking Rachel outside the bathroom door. Emma's like fixing up her makeup. She's like trying not to fucking curl, and she hears them talking about a school pium pium. So then she's like, bitch, they talking about me? So then Emma confronts Misha because Rachel had already left, and she's like, who are you talking to? Fucking Misha lies and is like, oh, I was talking to so-and-so, like not Rachel. And she's like, well, what were you talking about? She's like, oh, nothing, girl. And it's just like, bitch, I will punch you in the face right here, right at my wedding. I will literally take off my shoe and hit you with it. Think I won't? I will use that heel to stab you. What do you mean? So not really, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just being dramatic for this video. So then Emma and Charlie, Emma goes into like this study, and she like takes a swig of this like brown alcohol, like whiskey or cognac or something like that. Whiskey's not brown, is it? I don't fucking know. And then Charlie comes in, and she's like, I think they were talking shit about us. Can you go get Misha so we can settle this? So he's like, no, I don't want to do it. So she's like, fine, I'm going to go get her myself. That's what I'm saying. Emma addresses shit head on, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how ugly. That's why she has my utmost respect. Don't condone what she was going to do, but she seems to have really grown from the experience, and really, she seems secure, and like she really knows herself, and she knows how to navigate shitty situations. So she goes and brings Misha, or he does, I can't remember. And she blurts it out that they had that little exchange at work. Man, Zendaya's face ate down. I was like, that would be me. I was like, that's a black woman for you. I just wish that she dug into both their asses. I was like, why the fuck she didn't just start mollywopping Misha? I was like, she should have mollywopped her husband, because he was the one that was in a relationship with her. He's the one that was engaged to her. He owed her all that loyalty. Misha, it really wasn't her fault. I mean, you fucking knew this man was engaged and was literally getting married in like T-minus 2 days, but that's besides the point. I said I would have beat both their asses. I would have been fucking throwing books, would have been fucking throwing punches. I would have fucking thrown my veil and like choked her with it. I don't fucking know, but I was like, I wanted to see more of a visceral response. That was the only thing. But it was like, that was what really gave the drama feel to it for me, that ending, that third act. So then they go back into or did he do his speech afterwards? I don't fucking remember. Yeah, okay, I think the speech was after. So yeah, so then, yeah, I can't remember. So then I think actually Charlie and Emma and all of them go back in the room, and then Rachel sees all of them come back one by one, and Emma's fucking distraught. I was like, she's having the worst wedding day. She should be happy. She should be having her titties pushed up. She should just be like thinking about sucking dick, you know, her husband's dick, like something, but no, she can't. So I'm like, oh my God. So then he gives a horrible fucking speech, and he apologizes to everyone. He's like, Emma didn't do anything, which is, I think, referencing the mass events. So then I think Blake and Rachel's boyfriend, Blake, start going back and forth. And Blake finds out, because Charlie was like, he was like, Misha of all people. So then he reveals to the entire room that he kind of had some sort of affair or fling or something with her. Man, so then Blake stands up, and he like, I want to put the paws on. I want to put the paws on him. Like little Scrappy used to say on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. He stand up. Blake is a big boy. He look like a UFC fighter, MMA. Like he look like he make a bitch go night night. So then he stands up. He starts charging towards Charlie. Man, he fucking decks him. He fucking headbutts him. Then next thing we see, you know what? Because then it hops in time. We see Charlie with like, he's got like blood under his eyes. His nose is fucked up. I mean, his fucking tux is bloody, bro. Like he looks busted. We don't see Emma. And then it flashes back and shows just the chaos. Everyone's trying to break the fight up. Emma fucking runs away in this fucking orange puffer jacket. It's a shit show. And earlier in the movie, Emma had said we should go to this diner called Andy's Diner after our wedding. And he was like, why the fuck would I want to go to a diner? That's lame. That's stupid as fuck. So then Charlie goes home. He's trying to look for her. Everyone's trying to call her. She's with her parents. The father-in-law texts him. He's not getting a hold of her. And he starts playing that song that she liked, and he starts dancing, has like a little self-pity dance party. Then he's like, I gotta go find my wife. So then he goes to the diner hoping he'll see her. And there was a scene in the beginning of the movie where after she revealed the secret, she tried to pretend like she didn't know him to kind of wipe that slate clean. So then it comes into play again. And I actually really love this scene. I thought it was really beautiful, and it was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. He's sitting at the diner. He orders a cheeseburger and a Coke. He's waiting for that to come. He's got his drink. And then she walks by in her wedding dress in the orange puffer jacket. And he's got like the bloody shirt on. He hasn't wiped off his face. Like bro is down bad. He's going out sad, okay? And she comes in with her wedding dress. She orders at the counter. She walks past him like she doesn't see him, almost similar to how when they first met. And then she sits with them and she's like, can I sit here? And she's like, I'm Emma, who are you? And he like, they act like they don't know each other. And to me, that was her giving grace and that was her giving forgiveness, even though he didn't really fucking deserve it. But I'm just telling you, if my fiance had cheated on me and I found out it was with the bitch that was in our wedding attendance, everybody would have been DEAD, okay? Not really, but I would have beat my husband's ass. They would have been like, we interrupt this program. You know how they have like the little barcodes, like the different colors? That would have been me. I actually know. I probably would have held my composure and then he would have got his ass beat at home. But anyway, actually I probably wouldn't. I probably would have just broke up with him. I would have probably just like annulled the marriage. So then they do that and there's like this warmth and there's this intimacy and there's like this sadness. And I actually like started crying at this scene. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Overall, I really like this movie. I would actually rate it a lot higher than, I would probably say like a 7.5 or an 8. And it was just beautiful acting. I actually think Charlie Pattinson, Jesus Christ, I think Robert Pattinson gave a beautiful performance. His performance was really layered. It was really believable. He really is one of those actors that truly immerses himself. You believe every scene, every reaction. Like his reaction to first finding out the secret versus all the way to the before, during, and after. Like all of it was just so believable. Zendaya had some really strong moments in the film. I think sometimes conveying emotionally, she kind of struggles in that department for me. But I actually really liked Misha's character. I know that she was kind of like the mistress or the side chick. Not really, but she's a coworker that he kind of crosses that line with. And so, I don't know, I just really enjoyed this movie. I fucking hated Rachel's character, as I said before, because she was a Karen. She gave white women tears. It's like, feel bad for me, victimize me, but it's like, you can't see that other people around you could be victimized, and they might be of different backgrounds. And it seemed like she had some really bad preconceived notions or stereotypes about Black people. Like, for instance, when Emma was talking about what she was planning to do, she like says her husband was surrounded by guns, but he didn't act on it. And she made that assumption. She didn't know that. And her husband was like, no, the fuck I didn't. She was like, oh yeah, he grew up around it. He was terrified of them. I'm like, so are you insinuating he grew up in around gangbangers or like street like, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, she was just making that assumption instead of actually getting factual information. And that's what I mean by like, she was a Karen and she was like a white woman with tears that were just like performative or had no like real salt or merit or value. Like, she was just really problematic, and she like had the audacity to feel like it personally happened to her. And we also found out her cousin that was paralyzed from the mass events, they're not actually that close. Like, she didn't know anything about the wedding. She didn't know anything about Rachel's like comings and goings. So like, she was using that as if it happened to her. That's what I'm saying, internalizing it as if it happened to her, as if it was her experience, and carrying that as if it truly happened to her. And it's like, it didn't happen to you. It happened around you. Yes, you could be affected by something that happens around you, not necessarily always to you, but you're carrying that weight, and it's not a weight for you to carry. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like there could have been more chemistry. I don't know if Mamadou and Alana were the right two. Alana actually played her part well, but I don't know if there was real chemistry with her and Mike, because it seemed like she actually hated her husband. Like, she really wanted to always put him down. And I think that's something some white people tend to do in like intimate spaces, especially like social events and social spaces. Like, they will try to sun you basically, and it's like, don't fucking do that, because I will shut all this shit down. I will go ape shit on you, like, period. I really will. And I won't apologize for it. But she didn't see anything wrong with what she did with her atrocious act. I actually felt like Rachel's act was the worst thing that anybody in the movie had done. Now, her husband's act was pretty bad, but I was like, in comparison to all four of theirs, I've heard people say her and Charlie were the worst, but I really think Rachel's was the worst. And she saw nothing wrong with it, and she was going to continue carrying on in life like that. And I think there's a certain ignorance and a certain privilege that comes with that type of behavior. So that's why I say white women tears that had no fucking real value to me as a viewer. But it was a really thought-provoking movie. I see why a lot of people felt some type of way about it, but that's what art is supposed to do. It is supposed to provoke, and it's supposed to get us talking and get us doing reviews and get us having those hard conversations. I really think you should give it a chance. It's streaming on HBO Max. Like I said, 7.5, 8 out of 10. Some stuff I was like, it's really kind of falling a little flat for me. I just wish that script was a little bit tighter. Like, some of those threads needed to be woven together a little bit neater, a little bit cleaner. But overall, I enjoyed this film. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for his work. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. I actually felt satisfied by the ending. It was one of the most beautiful like somber, melancholic endings I've ever seen. And I was just like, I think that was a good place for them to end. But it's like they have some real healing and real inner work to do if they're gonna make it as husband and wife. Because now it's not for play. They're locked in. And I was like, Emma is so much better than me because I wouldn't have forgiven him. I'm sorry. Once you burn me or once you cross me like that, done, off with their heads. Like, I'm a Libra. We're very big on loyalty. We're very big on not betraying. We're very big on like having my front, my side, my back. And once you cross me and once you take it there, I'll never see you the same and I'll never treat you the same. It's so bad. But like the Mariah the Scientist song says, revenge. I'm only human. I want revenge. It's not even revenge. I'm just like, get the fuck away from me. I'll go ghost on you. I'll act like you never existed. It's so bad. Like, it takes a lot for me to get there. But once I'm there, you know, like Santana, you know, like that's me. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. But let me know if you guys are gonna watch this movie. Let me know if you're interested. What other movies do you want me to review? Hype me up in the comments. Y'all not really hyping me up enough, and I hate that for me. But anyways, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.